After you add the ackee, literally about 1 to 2 minutes, and that's it. It's done. Alright you guys, welcome back. Quick rundown of our ingredients today. I have some coconut oil, canned ackee because I do not have the luxury of having fresh ackee, all-purpose seasoning, salt and black pepper, saltfish aka salted codfish, and in this bowl I have chopped up some green onions, 2 stalks of green onions, 1 small onion, a half of a small red pepper, 2 cloves of garlic, and some thyme. So the first thing that we're going to get started with is boiling the saltfish. Now I'm using the saltfish that has the bones in it, and so I'm going to boil this about 4 times, meaning add it to a pot of fresh water, bring it to a boil for a few minutes, change the water, and repeat that process maybe about 2 to 3 times. Now, in my personal opinion, this saltfish that has the bones in it is way more saltier than the actual fillets that you usually would purchase in the package at the store. That's just my opinion, you guys. So when I use that other type of saltfish, I only boil that one about 2 to 3 times. This one, I'm going to boil about 4 times because I find that the salt content in this is super high. Alright, so we're going to get started with boiling the saltfish, and then after that we will get to cooking. For also boiling the saltfish is to remove the excess salt from here. So I started boiling the saltfish, and you definitely don't want to boil out too much of the salt. You want to leave just the right amount of salt in here. That's my personal preference. And if you have no idea how to determine if it's too salty, you can definitely taste it. Meaning after you're done boiling it, and if you taste it and it's too salty, you can just put it back in the pot to boil. Alright, so 1 to 4 times. Alright, so I'm going to do this about 4 times. So I have the fresh water in here. I'm going to allow this to boil, and I'm going to bring it to a boil for a few minutes, change the water, and just keep repeating the process over again. And as I mentioned before, I will be doing this about 4 times. So we're done boiling the saltfish, and now we're going to flake it. So let me show you how I'm going to prep this before adding it to the pot. And this is the same plate that I had the saltfish in before. So this one has the skin and the fins and everything on here, so I'm just going to use a knife and scrape it off. And of course my saltfish has been cooled already, you guys. So we're just scraping off the skin. Unless you like that stuff, go ahead and keep it. I don't like that stuff. Just gonna remove all of that without disturbing the actual meat. See, just use that and scrape it. Now if you were just using the regular fillets in the package that does not come with a lot of this stuff on there, you simply just start flaking it. Alright, so this piece is ready to be flaked. And now I'm just going to do the same to this piece. Remove the fin. And I'm just going to scrape that off, which it comes off super easy because it's been boiled. Try not to scrape it too hard because then you're going to disturb the meat, and you need the meat. Now this one has bone in it, so once I start flaking it, I'm gonna remove the bones. And you definitely want to try to remove as much of the bones as possible, because who wants to be eating ackee and saltfish and you're worrying about bones in your mouth? Not me. That is a pet peeve of mine, which is why I kind of sort of don't really like purchasing this from the restaurants, because I feel like they don't really take the time out to remove all the bones. All right, so the next side looks like this, and now we're just gonna flake it. All right, of course my hands are already cleaned, so this is how we're gonna flake it. Just like that. See, into little pieces. And if you notice, I'm going like I'm doing like this with my fingers, because I'm trying to feel for the bones in here, just so that we can remove it. So I know for a fact that this piece has like a really big piece of bone. If you don't want to get your hand into this, put some gloves on. I don't suggest using a fork, but if that works for you, then by all means, do that. So I'm just going to remove the meat from here. And this is the point where you taste this. If it's too salty, I don't suggest putting it back to boil, but you can at least pour some hot water over it, let it soak for a little bit, and that should help to remove any excess salt. So I'm left with this. I don't eat this, but if you want to eat that, do what you want to do, for sure. See, there's a piece of bone right there. So you definitely want to feel the meat with your fingers while flaking this. And this is super easy. Alright, so I'm just gonna flake these next two pieces, and then we're going to be ready to make the ackee. Now, I already took the ackee from the can and rinsed it under some water just to remove the excess brine, since the ackee was in brine. Canned ackee is already cooked, so there's no need to put it back on the stove to boil, or else you're gonna turn out with mush. But if you're using fresh ackees, then you would place it in some water to boil until it becomes nice and tender. You can also place it to boil with the saltfish, meaning the last time that you're boiling the saltfish, just so that it can pick up some flavor, or if you prefer, you boil it separately. So this is my saltfish flaked. This is what's left in here, which is garbage. The bones, the fins, and all of that, the skin. And now we're gonna start cooking this. My pot has been fully heated over a medium heat, and I'm now going in with the coconut oil. I'm using coconut oil, you guys, because this is going to add some flavor to here. And I personally love eating ackee and saltfish, and it has that hint of coconut in here. But of course, if you don't like coconut flavor, feel free to use whatever oil you have on hand. Vegetable oil, canola oil, whatever you want to use. You don't need a ton of oil for this, but that's definitely your choice for sure. So I have enough in here just to coat the pot. And now I'm going to add the seasonings that was prepped earlier. We're going to saute these until they're nice and fragrant, and then add the flaked saltfish. Alright, so this has been going for about a minute and a half. It's now, you see they're starting to get a little translucent, and it's nice and fragrant. So I'm now going to go in with my flaked saltfish. Gonna give this a stir. And I'm also gonna go in with the seasoning. I tasted my saltfish, so this does not need an ounce more of salt. What I'm gonna add to here is about 1.5 teaspoons of black pepper and about a teaspoon of the all-purpose seasoning. Ackee and saltfish do not need a whole bunch of seasonings, but again, do things to your liking for sure. Add in the black pepper. And I'm going to add a little extra black pepper in here because I like the taste. Not too much black pepper, but I like tasting the black pepper on my Ackee and saltfish for sure. So I will definitely say I went in with about 1.5 teaspoons to 2 teaspoons of black pepper. Now add in about 1 teaspoon of the all-purpose seasoning. Now we're somewhat over seasoning the saltfish just so that once we add the Ackee in here, things will balance out. But I will not add any season to the Ackee because once again, when we add the Ackee in here, we're just going to do a 1, 2, 3 quick flip. We're not going to play with it too much because we don't want to break it up. So your saltfish might appear a little bit over seasoned, but once you add the Ackee, that's going to stretch things out for sure or balance things out, if that makes sense. Alright, so season your saltfish. Let it cook for about a minute or two. And I feel like my pot can take just a little bit more oil. So I'm going to add just a little bit more coconut oil in here. The last thing we're going to do is to add the Ackee. Alright, so here's my washed Ackee. I'm going to go in with that. And I'm going to gently stir it. Literally folding it. Now you guys see what I suggested about over seasoning the saltfish? Things are now starting to balance out in here. After you add the Ackee, literally about 1 to 2 minutes, and that's it. It's done. Taste your pot, adjust your seasonings as needed. Of course, add some more black pepper or all-purpose seasoning if needed. If you want to add salt, that's on you. I tasted mine and everything is fine. And you guys, that's it. Super easy. Jamaican Ackee and saltfish. That is it. We're done. Okay, you guys, that is a wrap. If you've made it this far in the video and you're new here, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, drop a like, a comment, and of course, share this video if you liked it. Share with a friend, a family member, someone who this video could be useful to or helpful. And thank you guys so much for being a part of the Cookin' Fam. Your loyalty and friendship means the world to me. Alright, so we have Ackee and saltfish with fried dumplings, and I'm about to dig in. And the green things that are on top are green onions or scallion used as a garnish. Alright, so I'm about to enjoy every bit of this fried dumpling and Ackee and saltfish. Now, if you have leftover Ackee and saltfish, the possibilities are endless that you can use it for. You can turn it into Jamaican seasoned rice. You can do little Ackee and saltfish puff pastries by using the Ackee and saltfish as a filling. You can stuff dumplings with them. You can do so much with it. Alright, so if you're ever intimidated to make Ackee and saltfish at home because you're thinking that you're going to have too much leftover, trust me, you can definitely use the leftovers to do a lot. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching, and see you guys in the next tutorial. Happy cooking.